Please be advised that everything in my video is purely for entertainment purposes. These are purely my thoughts and opinions and are subjective. I must advise you to please do your own research. All media users found on the public domain and are fair use and fair dealings.
Hi you guys, hope you're all doing well. I know I've been away, I did not fall off the edge of the planet. Instead, I have got a confession to make. I cheated on you guys. I didn't just cheat on you guys, I cheated on my husband, I cheated on the entire world. Most of you know that follow my channel that, it's been up and down for me for the last couple of months, finding out my mum was sick, and then just generally the news, the whole world and everything that's been going on with this, this bug that just will not go away. And, it's really hard constantly reading the news because even though I just want to cherry pick some of the news, I'm reading all of the really bad stuff and it got too much for me. And I think that I started getting a little bit depressed, and I'm not ashamed to admit it at all. But something saved me, or someone saved me, shall we say. And his name is Jamie Fraser of the Mackenzie clan. Now, for those of you who don't know who I mean, those of you that do, I started watching Outlander. I never have been one for, TV shows when they come up. I know Outlander's been around for years. But what happens with me, like people said, oh, watch Game of Thrones, you'll love it. 2 seasons in, no, didn't like it. Breaking Bad, oh, best show in the world. Didn't make even 2.5 episodes. Made 1 episode, they're like, no, you have to stick it out. And I said, no, don't like it. This show, I swear I've spent the last 2 weeks in Scotland myself. It's got so bad that my husband is no longer, if I ever get a chance to go away on a girly weekend away, Scotland has been outruled. It's a fantastic show. I needed a break, and as I said, I've never really been someone that binge watches shows like I have been doing, and I just got inside this show for the last couple of weeks to the point that I think that my house could have been on fire, my husband would have had a dog on either shoulder, the fireman would have been screaming at me, but if I was having a Claire and Jamie moment, I don't care, I will go up in flames with this house, just no one touch the remote. It got so bad that my husband was like, are you actually gonna come away from the TV? Are you cooking dinner tonight? As soon as he'd say something like, do you need anything from the shop? Like, yes, I do. What do I need? I need something that's not from the local shop. I need him to go get something. Can you go get some drain unblocker? Yeah, the stuff that's from home base, which is right the other side of town. Massive queue to get in. I could at least fit in 2 episodes then. It was bad, but it gave me the break. I'm now on to the beginning of season 3. I do not want any spoilers. For those of you that have watched it, great, it's amazing, love it. For those of you who haven't watched it, I do recommend it. Some of the scenes in it are incredibly graphic, but that is why whoever invented, all of these fantastic pieces of equipment that we have now where we can watch and play things, invented the fast forward button, the stop button, but most importantly, they invented the rewind and pause buttons. So before I start dribbling and my husband comes home, I would like to talk about that we had a very, very special day on the 20th of November, and that was the Queen and Prince Philip's 73rd wedding anniversary. 73 years. That's absolutely amazing. I'm on my 3rd year of marriage, and unless my husband and I are very lucky to live into our hundreds, that is a massive, massive number of years to be married that not many people actually get to see that kind of length. I wish that all of us that are happily married, obviously, that get to spend that number of years with the person that we love. The Queen and Prince Philip released a new picture of them, but it was just gorgeous. This couple have been through so much together, everything that Philip and the Queen have given up. It's also been stated recently in the news that the Queen has said that she will never abdicate to Charles. She will basically be going out when she passes. It's not really news because the Queen has always said that. She actually declared that she will serve basically the country until the day that she dies. So I don't think that Charles would ever want to lose his mother, but I think she's got a few years in her left before we see Charles take the throne, which is kind of thankful really, considering how the Crown is really painting Charles and Camilla to be at the moment. There seems to be a lot of stuff going on around about the Crown. Obviously a lot of anger towards Harry and Meghan, because how could they sign with this particular media giant that is showing the Crown? Now, the Crown is fictional. Don't get me wrong, the characters are real, the timelines are a bit squiffy. I don't watch it, I read about it when a big storyline comes up, because you've got a lot of historians that are literally losing their minds over what happened. I don't think that Diana was treated fairly, but then at the same time, you know, there's certain things that Diana did that I don't think were fair. There is so much that you could talk about with Camilla and Charles, but obviously with Charles getting to the point where he's actually close to finally taking the throne, this sort of TV show is going to kick up a lot of old stink for people that have just about tolerated Camilla. I personally like to point out here that I actually really like Camilla. I think that her and Charles should have always been allowed to marry, and there maybe wouldn't have been so much heartbreak, but then you wouldn't have had William and Harry. Things always work out in the end. So moving on to the big story. Meghan and Harry reportedly, depending on where you read it, handed over the keys to Eugenie and Jack, who are expecting their first child together. You think, oh, what a nice gesture. Or is it? There was a blind gossip that came out that turned around and said that Harry and Meghan might have handed the keys over, but they are expecting rent. Now, I can't see how this can actually happen because it's a crown property, which means that the Queen doesn't own any of these properties. She owns them while she's, well, kind of owns them, while she's reigning monarch. But then obviously when the Queen passes, then they become Charles. But he doesn't actually own them, which means he cannot sell them. He cannot take revenue from them. So for whoever it is that put out this story, I don't quite believe it. It's just all smoke and mirrors. I'm at a point now where I'm like, you don't know what to believe anymore, do you? It's just constant. It's just, you just know it's constant. Is it her PR? Is it just the newspapers have just decided that they can make up anything they want about Harry and Meghan now, and people will either choose to believe it or they won't. Who knows what is going on? All I know is that they cannot take rent off of Eugenie and Jack. But this is not just where the kind of twists and turns with the story have gone. Chris Ship posted a tweet saying that Team Sussex, lovely, have assured everybody that the property is still theirs. Well, it was never really theirs in the first place. They didn't really live there. All they did was spend taxpayers' money on renovating it to a certain someone's highest standards. So believe what you want there. So it's not technically theirs, but to me, it just rings about this whole, you remember the Megxit and the demands that they made, and Prince Harry was, those positions in the military were still his. He may not be able to fill them at the moment, but until the 12 months is up, it's still his. This reads to me like that. That house is still ours because the 12-month review is not up. But it was the fact that that story came out from their team of saying it's theirs. Who knows? Maybe they have actually finally been kicked out of the royal family to the point that the Queen already knows what's going to happen at Megxit and just decided their most recent 6 months worth of antics were enough for her to go, you're not coming back. Let's give the, Frogmore cottage to, a real princess. And Jack, they're obviously going to make use of it. They've got a young family on the way, which is exciting for them. I love that couple. Omid Scobie himself obviously did confirm that the property is still Harry and Meghan's, and when they come to the UK, when hell freezes over and pigs might fly, that they will stay at the property. How nice for Eugenie and Jack. There's lots of things that I find really mixed up with this story. It's obviously the huge scandal that was caused, and it was where Meghan announced her pregnancy at Eugenie's wedding. It's a massive taboo. It doesn't matter what social set, how you were brought up, who you were brought up, how much money was spent on your education. You do not pull out I'm pregnant at anyone's wedding. It's just not fair. It's not the done thing. You are stealing thunder from the bride, and it was done in such a sneaky way. She was so early and she did not need to be wearing the maternity coat. That's what made it all the more cringeworthy and rude. Eugenie was reportedly upset on the day, so I can't really see Eugenie and Jack going, oh yeah, we'd love to get that house off of you and pay rent to you, and then you can come stay with us when you come back to the UK, which I think we all know that Meghan's never going to step foot on UK soil, especially not with Archie, ever again. I have seen that some of the royal, what do we call them? They're not the royal reporters, these are the royal experts, as some people like to say. They write on the royals quite a lot, or they're involved in some of the royal magazines. And they said, of course Meghan will come back at Christmas, or at least, of course, Harry will come back with Archie. Have you not learned anything over the last couple of years? Meghan doesn't care about her own family. She's certainly not going to care about the Queen and Philip seeing Archie. It's a nice kind of sweet thing where people still hope that even after everything that they have shown themselves capable of, that they will bring Archie back in the Queen and Philip's final years. I wouldn't count my chickens. I personally can't see it happening. It's like the one final to the royal family, isn't it? And it is, she's a narcissist. It's all about control. And this is the same thing with control in this narrative. If the Queen has turned around and said, that's it, Frogmore Cottage is no longer yours, but you can spin it how you like, it's still theirs. Naturally, their team have come forward. Of course it's still theirs when the story broke that Eugenie and Jack have moved in. Again, it's like, Eugenie and Jack have just been told that they can have the property on her grandmother's estate. Princess Eugenie is very close with the Queen, that she'll be closer to her parents when the baby arrives. How lovely. But rather than just revelling in the fact that Eugenie and Jack have now been gifted Frogmore Cottage, straight away Meghan's team have come out just to say it's still theirs. Since when have any of us ever really known how it really works with the royals? We only seem to find out about it when there's a serious scandal of how much the Queen was charging certain cousins to stay in Kensington Palace. I think it was something like £69 a week. Could you imagine renting an apartment in London, in Kensington Palace? £69 a week? You couldn't rent a shed for £69 a week. Another story that came out was that they had their stuff packed up and shipped across in the middle of the night. I still can't help but feel that this is the same kind of narrative like Omid Scobie's book that he wrote with Carolyn, reportedly, without Meghan's influence. But it's, you know, they had their possessions removed under the cover of nightfall. The removal van turned up and left under the cover of darkness. It's all very similar to when they left Canada under the cloak of darkness, you know, when Tyler Perry sent his private jet to rescue them just before the borders of the USA shut. It's just another load of twaddle, isn't it? They have also spun the fact that they are now the Fab Four. Eugenie and Jack are so close with Meghan and Harry that they have become the new Fab Four. The new. So that's obviously a clear swipe towards Catherine and William. And as I've said, given the behaviour at Eugenie's wedding, given the fact that, you know, she's just moved into Frogmore and straight away Meghan makes it about her and Harry, I don't really truly believe that there are going to be a Fab Four in Meghan's life ever. So even with this story coming out, it doesn't matter if it's Team Sussex, if it's Omid Scobie, if it's the Royal Reporters, everyone's put their twist on it. They're renting it, they've been given it, the Queen's had enough. The Queen's finally turned around and said Harry and Meghan have gone too far. Maybe it was the Memorial Sunday stunt that they pulled. Who knows what's going on at this point? But one thing that has come out that is actually true, Harry and Meghan have employed 2 new members of staff. They have employed a new press secretary and a new head of communications. Now, translation, this is basically their new PR team that is going to try and turn it around to show us and the rest of the world how nice Harry and Meghan really are. This is their 12th PR person, and I wish them the best of luck. I can honestly say that there is no amount of money that Harry and Meghan right now can invest in a PR team that can turn around their image. They have not helped themselves, obviously, with the memorial stunts and various other things that they've done in America. So the Americans weren't actually that particularly taken with them because they just saw Meghan for what, well, pretty much what we saw her for. Someone that came in, that promised that she was going to hit the ground running and give it her all and her best, but in truth it was just basically, well, it was a ruse, wasn't it? And we don't know how far Harry was involved in it. I'm not blaming Meghan entirely in this because, you know, she couldn't have done it without Harry enabling her, and Meghan and Harry couldn't have got away with everything that they've gotten away with so far without the royal family enabling them. So when it comes to people disliking Harry and Meghan and hating them for the decisions and actions that they've made, I can completely understand the frustration. But until people from high above, i.e. the senior royals, actually start doing something or are seen to do something, even if it is waiting for this 12-month review, but they better really check with the mood of the people, because it's not just America. It's not just Canada. Australia have had enough of them as well. I don't think Australia ever liked them, actually. The Aussies had her number from like the get-go. And then obviously England, we've got her number. Once you've got someone's number like that, once you know that someone is basically a narcissist that has used, manipulated, trod on people, and to say that she has done that is an understatement, but now Harry has done that too, you can't undo that. There is no PR in the world that can undo once people see you for a nasty person. And unfortunately, Harry and Meghan just don't seem that nice anymore. I mean, if you're talking your 12th PR person to try and turn around your image, you know, you've had a book come out, which they didn't have anything to do with, but she did. But coming to you in my next video, I'll update you on more of the stuff that's been going on, because now I've got to play a game of catch up. But it's my own fault, and I promise you, that I will do another video before I dare go back to the Scottish Highlands. Well, they're not in Scotland anymore, but I don't want to give the game away. But yes, anyway.
I'll be back with you guys really, really soon, and I hope to chat to you guys in the comments. If you like my video, please remember to like and subscribe. Please, angry typists, you will be blocked, so save your fingers the time. If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to my About page and click the link. Love, Taz.